Okay, all right. I think we're about to go live here.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, welcome to sittingonacouch.com. Looks like we are live now. And welcome to sittingonacouch.com's Guild Wars podcast. This is Revealed, the first ever Thief podcast. I am Bass, and for those who are listening and those who very kindly have been waiting for us, we appreciate your guys' patience. We apologize. As you can see, we've had a couple of technical difficulty issues, but everything seems to be working out just fine. Now it looks like everything is live. I'm Bass, and with us today is none other than the great Jumper. I apologize that there is no web cameras or something like that. We are going to work on that for the future. For the next episode, we will also have a overlay for those who want to join in and or for that type of thing. So for right now, the overlay you see is just a very basic one. We're going to try and get everything going. It is going to be pretty exciting here. But I have Jumper as well as Marcus Valadier, also known as Ninja on the forums. And we are pretty excited about the first ever Thief podcast Revealed. And we'll go through the show in just a bit. We're going to have Jumper introduce himself, and then Marcus will introduce himself. Then they're going to introduce me, Bass, to the Thief, and try and explain to me what makes the Thief so good and why the Thief has had so much trouble in PvP, or not PvP, but PvE. And we'll just go through that one. And then we're going to have a question-answer time at the very end with the viewers, and we'll see how everything goes. I do apologize again for the late start. We're about 15 minutes late, and that is just something I don't like doing. But we are glad for everybody that decided to join us today. So let's go and start off. Jumper, what is something that what brought you to the Thief? What brought you to Guild Wars 2? And how are things going on that one?
Well, they pretty much reeled me in with the keyword esports. I was a League of Legends player, starting to break into the pro scene, like semi-pro. My team was scrimming like, all these teams like Fortnite and, Dignitas. I was playing a couple games with them. And, we had actually had Nian Tanso try out for our team. Like he is and has been like rank 1 on the solo queue ladder for like forever. So yeah, is that but yeah, I started playing Guild Wars, and then I started out on Warrior. I got my Warrior to 80 like the first 3 days of launch, and I never touched PvE for another like 3 or 4 months after that.
Oh wow.
But yeah, after some PvPing, I just felt like the Warrior skill cap was like extremely low. Like you can only just go in and pretty much do your burst and die. Like there was no ins and outs or anything intricate about it. Yeah, I looked over to Thief, and it has all that and more, pretty much, or at least it did at the time. So.
Well,
Yeah,
they still have a significant amount of burst, but you give up a whole lot in order to do it.
Yeah, after about 400 games on Warrior, I switched to Thief and never looked back.
So now, what was your warrior's name, honestly? Like, I mean, what did you call yourself? Just so anybody who used to play way back then can look you up and say, hey, I remember him.
Because of the Berserker amulet and like Berserk Warrior, that type of deal. Jumper space BZERK. Just because, like I want all my tags. Yeah, I want all my tags to have like Jumper and just slight spin on it. People see my in-game tag Jumper X and like, oh, he's just throwing X into his name. No, it's more of like the symbol for Thief is an X, the key and the dagger. So that's where that comes from.
Oh, okay. Very cool. I always wondered about that one, because it was kind of throwing me off, too. A lot of people, they'll do interesting little tags to their name, and I never understand it. And a lot of times it's like in the beginning, like all those guys with LIL at the beginning, I don't even understand. Is that just because they're shorter? I mean,
It's pretty much a club for Asuras.
Ah, okay, okay. So it's like a little Asura joke. So the LIL thing. I
Yeah,
gotcha. Okay. See, there's all these new things that I have to learn.
at least that's my theory about
No, you
it.
don't actually know either. I don't know if I'd ever advertise that I'm little. I mean, that's just not something. Does this mean that all Norns should walk around with like things before their names that say like big? BIG. That'd be awesome. I think we should have more of those. So.
Big Al, big Ted. Yeah.
I could just see because I think Zombify has a giant Norn Mesmer he calls Big Daddy. So and that one's pretty awesome. So I think if you're gonna name your character something really awesome, that would be now. Let me ask you this, Jumper: Is there any difference between when you're making your thief or something like that? Is there any difference between like the race that you're gonna pick when it's for PvP? I mean, is there really any difference between them? Because like I like to have a Norn thief just for kicks.
That's a classic.
It really matters for animations. Like a huge Norn, you're gonna see Heartseekering. It's gonna be like extremely obvious, so people will see that and dodge roll immediately. So obviously, like as for every class, Asura is always the best because their animations are smaller and yeah, they're just Asuras are just completely imbalanced.
Okay, so you're talking about just in terms of like the basic
Abilities,
because the animations are much smaller. It means that the actual animation is going to be a little bit faster. So that and then when you're running a thief, your animations are the key behind being able to pull off your attacks. Correct?
All except for backstab.
Yeah, backstab you don't usually see. Yeah, that one just kind of ups and hits you. So
Yeah, you don't usually see that coming.
okay.
Literally.
That one and steel. Like when guys open up with steel, that one always gets me too. The first
But
steel.
I mean, back when everyone was running Dagger, Cloak and Dagger, that's a really huge animation to look out for.
Yes. Yeah, that is a definite one. Cloak and Dagger. Was that the spinning? No. What is Cloak and Dagger?
You kind of like spread your arms and do a swipe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So I'm guessing back in the day that was a pretty powerful ability.
Well, it still
Um,
is.
In WW, sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It took a 33% damage nerf, as well as Dancing Dagger that took a 50% damage. And they cut the damage in half, so you don't really see any dagger offhand thieves anymore.
Okay. All right. So we'll come back to where the thieves are currently in just a second. But let's go ahead and introduce our other one, Marcus Valdir. He is one of the Great Danes from Denmark, and he is with us today. Marcus, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What brought you to Guild Wars 2, and why you chose the thief?
Yeah, hey everyone. The main reason I actually chose the thief is a bit lame, but in real life my friend calls me Ninja for a pet nickname, which is a bit lame. It's like an old joke that has just like been sticking to me. So obviously when we were like, hey, we should play Guild Wars, I was like, okay, what's the most ninja kind of character you can get? And I was like, the thief. And then I was like really, really lazy and didn't want to level anything else. So when I got this to level 80, I was like, no, fuck leveling anything else. And then I saw all the other classes and I'm like, oh man, those Mesmers are really, really cool, and those engineers with the gadgets and everything. So I've been trying to mimic as many of the other classes I could do with my thief. So, for example, Ossicat, a great World vs. World Mesmer player, he jukes around a lot and uses portal and teleports to get high ground in World vs. World. So I use the sword just to try to mimic the way he moves around and do that kind of stuff. So that's what I found fun. But yeah, I was like, what's the most kind of ninja character you can get? Because I like, well, coming up behind people and just nuking them without them having any kind of chance. That's just how I roll.
Yeah, there you go.
Not playing fair.
Now, you mainly play World v World, don't you, Ninja?
Yeah, that's mainly World vs. World solo roaming. Roaming or with like 1 or 2 partners.
I think that's what a majority of I mean, and this is a question for both of you guys. I mean, the mindset of the thief player is like has to be completely different than the mindset of a lot of the other places. Such as, I play a necromancer, and you guys have faced necromancer before, and when you play as a necromancer, you have kind of like a group mentality. You know, you're always with your group. You're never without a buddy because you don't want to get caught alone. But the thief is more like the individual player class. It's the one where you're going to roam alone like 90% of your time. Is that correct, Ninja? I mean, that's kind of how it is in World v. World.
Yeah, at least you can do that. You can also run in a team and be really effective in a team, giving your teammates stealth and all that. But yeah, the main difference, or one of the key differences in the mentality is when you as a necromancer, you see a Zerg coming towards you, you like shit your pants and try to run away all you can. And I'm, as a thief, I just go like, ooh, a Zerg, I can hide in there. Jump into it, cloak and dagger, and just like stealth through it. And wait for some good openings to get some kills, some lobies or something like that. So every other class will like shit the pants and run, and thief are like, hey, that's an opportunity to get some fun plays and some good kills.
Now, Jumper, do you ever do World v. World?
Very rarely.
Okay. But I know that you're almost the king of hot joins right now. Right? I mean, that's a lot of what your streaming is doing, right? It's a lot of hot joins, and occasionally you'll do you have your team, now that you have a team. But before it was just you kind of hot joining and kind of running around and finding guys to kill.
Yeah, I actually feel like it's kind of more of a challenge in hot join, actually, than in, like, some tournament groups. Just because, like, in a tournament group, you know, I go in, I do my job, I get people down. There's only 4 other players to worry about, and, you know, I did my job, and then, you know, I get out. He gets stomped or he doesn't, you know, it's really up to my team at that point. But in a hot join, there's like 7 other players to worry about besides your target. So you're constantly like watching your back and thinking about, you know, how should I finish this guy, or how should I separate him from the rest of his Zerg, or, you know, that sort of thing.
So now, Jumper, how would you describe the thief's role currently in tournament play?
In tournament play, it really depends on what build you're trying to run. Myself, I'm kind of pioneering the sword dagger thief, at least in North America.
Sword dagger or sword pistol? Whether that sword pistol.
Sword dagger.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And yeah, pretty much my role with that build is basically, since I'm running tons of evades and utilizing the evade frames on flanking strike, I can be extremely tanky. Even though I have like 17k health and 900 toughness, I'll get like one shot. But if I utilize my evade frames correctly, I'll be like really hard to take down. And I can pretty much zone one target from the enemy side. So I'm playing like way away from the rest of my team. Like, they're all like in their own little world doing a 4v4 out there, and I'm here on the enemy's part of the map, and I'm like zoning 1 to 2 guys, like just 1v2ing or whatever.
Now,
like,
when you say zoning,
really just
you mean that you're kind of trying to pick them off of the group and you know, get them separated from their team, correct?
Well, I'm mostly making sure that my priority is that their AoE damage, their high priority, their VIP, so to speak, is their carry. They're not putting out damage to the rest of my team, while slowly at the same time I'm working them down.
Okay, all right. So you're kind of you're actually playing more of a control class instead of the burst down one, kind of like, because Cade is, and we all know who Cade is. Cade kind of does the pick a target, kill, knock it down, do the stomp, get out type of an attack, and you are more of a control type of a class. Is that correct? A control type of a thief.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there room right now currently for those for the burst type of thief right now, or is the AOE too strong right now in terms of because the dagger guy used to be... Go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead. I feel the dagger pistol thief is in a really rough spot after the mug nerf.
Okay. Now Mug
Like,
was the ability that you guys had. It was kind of like your burst ability. It was the dual skill, correct?
it makes up like more than a third of our burst, and just cutting that damage by more than half is just ridiculous.
Okay. Now, so you would say the same thing, kind of like Marcus does in terms of the World v. World. It's you almost play the class by yourself. You know, I mean, you are
Well,
part of the team and you're trying to pick up things, but you're not standing beside your guys. You're not
well,
watching.
Dagger Pistol is completely different than the playstyle of Sword Dagger, which I explained before. Dagger Pistol, you're playing a lot more with your team. Like, you're standing with like your Necro and your HGH or whatever. You're standing up on the cliffs and just raining down cluster bombs on people, and just waiting for your opportunity to jump in. And like when someone gets to like 75% health or 50 or whatever it is now, like it used to be like when someone overextends and gets to like 80% health, you'll jump in and kill them and punish them for overextending. But now with the mug change, it's really difficult to find them that low and out of position. So for the most part, you'll be like playing with your team and just trying to take advantage of the enemy's positioning.
Okay. Now, Ninja, is that the same as it is in World v. World? I mean, you were talking about how you guys kind of solo play out there.
Yeah, Dagger Pistol in World versus World right now is my nemesis. I really don't like that build in World versus World, because you have the ability to be permanently invisible, and in structured PvP you sort of have a goal about what you're doing. You're trying to get the points for your team, and you sort of have to team play. But in World versus World, you can sort of be a douchebag and not care about anyone else but yourself. So if a Dagger Pistol thief do not want to be killed, he can just be permanently invisible and you can't do anything to him. So you need to have like a team who can coordinate in order to actually kill that guy, because you can get a lot more stats in World versus World than you can actually do in structured PvP. So yeah, you can play it the same style. You can be really egoistic and just roam around on your own, be permanently invisible, and just pick off targets with it.
Hold on. Like, these are completely different builds. The tournament PvP Dagger Pistol and the WV Dagger Pistol.
Yeah,
Because,
I think the builds all the way down the line are kind of going to be the same way. I mean, they're going to be
In tournaments, well, it's completely different. Like in tournaments,
yeah, it is
if
different.
you're running
definitely.
If you're running permanent stealth with the what usually is like 0, 30, 30 or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but something like that. 30 in Shadow Arts, you're doing so much less damage. You're not doing that much for your team at all. Like, you might as well just.
I think the World versus World. I think the World versus World version of it right now is 0, 20, 30, 30?
Well, yeah,
like
something
that.
like that. In TPVP, in tournament play, you'll see most leagues, if not all, run 25, 30, 0, 0, 15 for maximum damage, and just trying to support their team by
Well, there's a big difference in World v. World in terms of and in PvP, in terms of tournament play for the or even in just hot joint PvP. Like in World v. World, a lot of the guys they build for bunker. They almost bunker themselves up. A lot of regen, a lot of stealth abilities, so they can get in and out of action really quick. And like just saying, the whole goal is to kind of pepper them down, because you have all this free space that you can fight through. That you can actually fight a guy for like 10 minutes before he ever sees somebody that he might actually come into contact with or help. You can pick a guy off, and sometimes the Zerg doesn't even pay attention while you're picking this guy off. While
they actually rarely do. But.
Yeah, they rarely do. Yeah, exactly. You can fight like in the back, and the front never notices you. It's pretty hilarious. And then
you can. I think I have like a clip where I pick off like 10 targets, and the Zerg never notice. They just like Zerg mine, go for the camps. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how it works. And then in terms of the tournament style, you have to build for burst because you have this limited space with it, which you could fight for, and like Jumper was saying, there's no need for a thief to be a bunker because you have your Ellie who can do it better. You have your Guardian, and you have your Engineer and your Rangers who can all do it better and do more damage than a thief who could when he's bunkering. Mainly because you can't hold the point and be stealth. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So basically, Jumper, you were saying
the main thing is that if you're not doing maximum damage, you're just a hindrance to your team.
So,
like, if your team just all follows and you're the last one standing, you're gonna last like maybe 5 seconds max in a 1v5 situation. So
now let's talk a little bit more about the differences. Let me ask you this question. Actually, let's hit our first topic, which is going to be where are the thieves in PvE right now, and why don't we see them? I mean, because both of you guys leveled in PvE, right? In terms of dungeons and stuff like that, correct?
Yeah. 280s, yeah.
Yeah, so why are there no thieves there? What's the issue behind it?
Because AI is really bad in PvE. It's really easy. So, like, the bosses, they just stand there, and there's no need to worry. Like, you pretty much just take the highest DPS in the game, which is Warrior. They're the highest AoE DPS in the game, if you know, with all the crit damage and stuff. Of course, that's completely different for PvP. HGH obviously being the highest AoE DPS in the game, but yeah, you pretty much just bring a Warrior instead, and it's about the same damage, if not a bit more, but it's AoE.
Yeah, I think right now the two classes that have like the least amount of AoE abilities in terms of with their weapons are the Thief and the Necromancer. Like all the Necromancer's weapon abilities are almost single target, mainly because all their utilities are AoE. And I think that hurts them a lot in terms of PvE in the dungeon and PvE realm. And I mean, Marcus, do you actually see any thieves when you do your dungeons from time to time?
Yeah, sometimes actually, but I think both me and a lot of thieves agree that it's just boring. I mean, I like to run with pistol just because when I'm doing PvE, it's just because I'm doing some kind of mindless money grind of some kind, just to get the stuff I need for World versus World. And I just think it's boring just to press like unload all the time and be able to actually complete a dungeon by doing so. It's as he says, the AI is just too easy.
Now, Jumper, would you say it's because I think that's one of the things also when you have the mentality behind being a thief is you're taking your target on, you're trying to kill them off, you're trying to control one guy, and as Marcus said, that's not the aspect in PvE where it's a lot about group play, finding yourself, trying not to get yourself killed, and you can't really get behind targets sometimes because of the amount of damage that the bosses will put out right next to them. You feel that that's the same reason? Jumper?
Oh, I got interrupted by TeamSpeak.
So do you feel it's the same way in PvE, that the mentality of most of your thieves are just not PvE related, because of the aggressiveness of the class?
For the most part, a thief is pretty much just one target. You pick one guy, you kill him, and yeah. I mean, there's completely different play styles. Like I said earlier, the dagger pistol and the sword dagger, zoning versus more team play. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it really depends on the player and how you want to play it.
Okay, so here's go ahead, Marcus. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think like there's something about the thief that just screams, "I need to kill another player." I mean, like we have a backstab ability, for crying out loud. I mean, that's supposed to kill another player. That's supposed to make someone go frustrated and smash his keyboard. That's just my mentality to it.
No, I would agree. I think there's just a different mentality when you play a thief. I know that whenever I get on my thief, like my initial goal, the reason I play the thief when I get on my giant Norn one, is one, not only to scare players by jumping out and killing them. Because you get this giant Norn that comes out of the blue.
Yeah, I could imagine that.
But it's also the whole thing is I want to kill this guy. So, this class as fast as I possibly can, and then get out. Like, one of the things I really like watching about it on Jumper's stream is that he'll go, "I'll take that boon, thank you, that's mine now, now I'll kill you, thank you." And you kind of comment the whole time to a player. It makes me wish that you could actually talk directly to the player while you're doing it, because then it would be funny.
In-game VoIP would be very nice.
Oh, that would be hilarious. If it like took your thing and translated it into, you know, the little text bubbles above your head. So, okay.
New Crichton.
So,
you can sort of do that.
You hear that,
You
Arena?
can sort of do that sometimes. Because some of the things we like to do in World vs. World is we set up duels. And sometimes we'll go on to Skype and just like talk to each other while doing the dueling. So sometimes I would go, "Hey, that's a stability. I would like that. Thank you."
Now, there was a question I actually asked in chat, and I'm going to go ahead and ask it. Do you guys think the Thief is the best 1v1 class right now? Or do you think it's more of kind of a ganking class? You know,
No.
What's that, Jumper?
Oh, no.
Not even
Thief
close?
is not even close, no.
Okay, well...
Like, 1v1 classes, what you generally look for is bulkiness, and Thief has none of that. No. With my builds, with the recent the sword dagger buffs, you can steal protection and regen. That really helps a lot, but there are still counters to it, such as a well-played Beastmaster Ranger, or
Dagger Ellie.
A Scepter. No, actually, I can kill Dagger Bunker Ellies pretty quick.
Really?
It's the it's the Scepter Dagger Bunker Ellies that really get me. For some reason, they just take way less damage. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
And also, I mean, you have to look out for abilities like Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being in melee range, like flanking in their face. Trying to get that Larson strike off, you know, you have to do as much damage as possible because their sustain is just insane. Like, you have to do as much damage as possible. It's a DPS race, and like at the same time, you have to consider, he can throw out a Phoenix at any time, and if he gets that and I'm not evading, I'm gonna lose over half of my health. And I don't have nearly as much sustain as this guy.
Oh, okay. All right, interesting. Yeah, see, I don't do much 1v1, mainly because I main a Necro, so 1v1ing is not the Necromancer specialty. So now, Marcus, is it this? Do you find the same thing in terms of when you come across? Are there certain classes you completely avoid in World v World when you're looking to pick somebody off?
The guy I usually try to avoid is if I've seen a really, really good Guardian and I don't have my Thief Guild Ultimate running. If that's on cooldown, I'll try to avoid him for like 2 minutes and then gank him. But besides that, I don't really feel that we are like a weak 1 vs 1 class in World vs World. At least I usually win most of my duels, unless it's against like really strong condition builds like Draco Dustslinger's engineer build with the confusion. Though that has been nerfed, so haven't tried one of those since.
Yeah, well, I did laugh though when all the condition players started freaking out over the condition nerf and they're like, "We can never play again. It's gonna be," and yeah, they were comparing it to the PvP. And Jumper, you know, I mean, like one of the worst things to get when you're like running around trying to kill things in PvP is getting like 10 stacks of confusion on you. It's like facing someone, and then especially if you're facing someone who also has retaliation on them, you're like, forget this, I'll just reset the fight and come back.
GG pistol up. GG pistol up users. Sorry, sword pistol.
So
I know that some engineers in World vs World would just stack like I think 7 stacks confusion or something when thieves attack them, and the thieves. Some thieves have this mentality that pressing Heartseeker will instantly make you win the fight, and that's not true. So they'll just try to do the backstab and just press Heartseeker, and if you have like 7 stacks of confusion, and yeah, that's just GG for you right there.
Yeah.
So,
now, for all those who are watching, this podcast, the Thief podcast, will actually be every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time or which is GMT -8. And what time is that, Marcus, in your area?
That's around
5 p.m.
5:30, I think. 5:30.
Yeah, so that'll make it easier for the EU players to join in, because I know Jumper has a lot of EU fans, and so does Marcus, and that'll make it a lot easier for them to get more people to come on the show. So, and just for everybody out there who's watching, who's listening, just that we're going to do it. They just did it this time so that we could do an introduction, and they could have me and teach me a little bit about the class. Let's go ahead and talk about certain builds and specs that have been nerfed or gone away. What happened to why has there never been a pistol? Or Pistol Mayhem, period. Is Pistol Mayhem that bad that it's never going to be seen again, Jumper?
Well, early in the beta weekend events, Unload used to be extremely powerful. Like, you can get, like, 8k unloads, just spam 3, and then also the Signet of Malice was, like, twice as good as it is now. So, like, with that and Signet of Malice, you can, like, permanently keep yourself at full health, as well as deal an insane amount of damage. But really, it all came down to a playstyle thing, where Arena looked at it, they looked at Pistol, and they said, oh, well, there's only one DPS option out of here, and everyone's just spamming 3 for the most effect, to get the most effect out of it. So, yeah, I think they just, didn't know what to do with it. So, I'm expecting a rework somewhere in the future. But right now, it's kind of like what Riot did with, like, some of their pub stompers. Like, they didn't really like a play style or anything, like Evelyn or Shaco. So they're just like, okay, we're gonna nerf you to the ground and then come back to you, like, way later in the future and just completely rework you.
Weird. Why don't you say it's like it's a really interesting weapon, the pistols are, Ninja, because it's got both conditions and power in it. And it's one of those real weird weapons that you run into where it not only stacks bleeds, but it also has a power kick on it, which kind of runs counter to a lot of condition builds.
I've always really like the idea of the pistol, because I just think Unload is such a cool ability. I like just shooting people down. That's just fun. But I just think that when I play, I like to juke around and to confuse the enemies on my position. And the pistol doesn't really have any. It doesn't really have any obvious stealth. Well, we do have our Blighting Powder, which we can combine with like a Heartseeker or something to gain stealth, but it doesn't have any direct stealth ability like the Cloak and Dagger or something. So you can't really use that, and it doesn't have any teleport abilities, so you can't use that either. So you're a lot less mobile. At least that's my feelings towards it. So I've been desperately trying to get it to work in World versus World, but I just feel you need so much damage in order to. You just need so much Zerker gear to actually make it effective, and it just feels like Dagger or Sword Dagger is just more effective.
So what actually happened to Dagger Jumper in terms of tournament play? Why did it go away?
Basically, what you would see is, the Thief Burst was a lot higher than it was now. With Dagger, Cloak and Dagger did 33% more damage.
I remember the 15k Dagger Hemos. That was fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
And Steel still crit, of course. Mug still crit. So, I mean, you can, if you got that full combo off Cloak and Dagger, Steel, Backstab, that could pretty much just insta-gib any squishy glass cannon. So, once you get him down, if one of his teammates came to try and res, that's really what you wanted to happen, really. Because then you would move on to Dancing Dagger, which it did double the damage it does now. And,
interesting.
Yeah, it did as much damage as a Heartseeker, but if it bounced like 4 times between the 2 targets. But it did it to both targets.
Oh, wow.
So, like, imagine a 25% damage, that's the max damage Heartseeker, but to both players, both the down guy and the one and the one who was rezzing him.
So it was broken.
Just, you hit Dancing Dagger 3 or 4 times, and then you just killed both whoever was rezzing and the guy you had just killed.
Yeah, that was lame.
So it was definitely broken in the past. And you think the fake now? Why don't we see them now? Now I know that we still see a lot of daggers in World v World. At least I do. Like they're everywhere in World v World.
Yeah.
Daggers like crazy. And now, Marcus, do you think that's more because the players are just they're addicted to daggers abilities, or is it actually a viable World v? Because Jumper, am I right? Dagger's not really viable in tournament play anymore.
Not at all. And there's just nothing that it brings that pistol offhand doesn't.
Okay.
It's just mostly because of the headshot. Headshot is just an amazing ability for dagger pistol, or the dagger main hand set in general.
For those of us who are unskilled with the thief, what is headshot?
Headshot is a daze on command. It's only like a quarter second, I believe, but it's for initiative. That's pretty heavy. That's fair, I feel, but it will interrupt anything. If you see a player starting to heal, headshot. If you see a player rezzing another player, headshot. If you see an enemy about to stomp an ally player, headshot him. Like, it just brings so much utility to your team.
Oh, okay. And Dagger is pretty much just a straight offensive blow through.
Well, Dancing Dagger at this point in time is just completely useless. It's not worth the initiative sync. And yeah, the cripple is just... There's better gap closers, especially with the... a couple months back, they buffed Shadow Shot from that's the unique, the dual wield skill from Dagger Pistol. So you can move that while casting that. So it made it so much better. It does slightly less damage than a mid damage Heartseeker, but it will ignore chill. It will blind your target. It's just like so great now.
I'm thinking I really need to learn how to play the thief now. My goodness. Now, Marcus, why do we see so many Dagger guys then still in World v World?
I think that, as I said before, a lot of the thieves in World vs. World are running alone. So they don't really care that much about having utilities to help your team. I know that a lot of thieves lately have been running with the dagger pistol to get the permanent invisibility and therefore have that extra usability, and they can of course use that. But the dagger in World vs. World, you can get a really high crit chance and still have a crit chance and critical damage, and still have some good survivability. So I don't really feel that the nerf to Mog has damaged us that much, because I can still burst down targets. I can still burst down all kinds of squishy targets, really. So I can still pick those off, and with the new change to the Mog ability, I have more sustainability in a combat, because I can heal those 2k as well. So I don't really feel that, and the reveal debuff that we get from exiting stealth with an attack has been decreased again to 3 seconds.
It's still 4 in PvP.
Yeah.
And that really hurts the dagger build.
Because it relies heavily on being invisible and then making the attack and then getting back invisible, right?
Well, the dagger build, like pretty much the only thing that it has over the dagger pistol build is that you can... well, Cloak and Dagger is obviously a lot less initiative than using Black Powder and then Heartseeking through it. And, even if you want to backstab and they're at full health, you're going to have to Heartseeker them when they're at full health. That does, like, no damage. So you're using, like, 9 initiative and just for 1 backstab. But with Cloak and Dagger, it's, you're doing a decent amount of damage, like 670 on what I'm running right now. You apply 3 stacks of vulnerability. That's not terrible. But yeah, every 4 seconds you're able to use that and backstab cloak, backstab, cloak, backstab. But with dagger pistol, you pretty much only backstab once, and then you use the rest of your kit. But with the reveal set at 4 seconds, it really hurts the dagger as opposed to dagger pistol.
Sorry, I was
Yeah, and
everybody's asking me why this isn't more friendly to EU players, and I do apologize to all those who are out there who are listening and are EU guys and are wondering why. The main reason is I work from
It's
Asia
your
Fund.
fault.
Totally my fault on this one, and it's also why most of our sittingonacouch.com podcasts that I'm involved in, which is Bass, it will be. But in the future, Jumper and Marcus, they want to make it available for all those guys, and so it'll be at 10 a.m. and then we'll upload it from there to our YouTube channel, which is SOAC Gaming, or you'll be able to catch the audio only at sittingonacouch.com, which we are doing. Which, by the way, Jumper, we're redoing the website for sittingonacouch.com, and it's going to look awesome. It's going to be absolutely amazing. The guys who are doing it, I just saw the Wirecast of it. And it'll actually make you proud to be a part of it and not cringe every time you see the green couch. So it'll be awesome. So that green couch, man, I'm thinking of keeping the green couch just because it's so famous. It's because people dislike it so much. It's got its own like.
Oh my god, no.
So
I mean, look at
No, man,
what
I like it.
people
I like it.
look at what ANET did to keep the keep. You know, people love that. Well, some people hate it. A lot of people hate it. Myself included. I found it like annoying. Oh, keep the keep. There he goes with keep the keep. But yeah, every time you captured the keep on forest map, the announcer would say, "You've taken the keep. Keep it."
yes, it drives me crazy.
I miss it. I miss it
that
so
was
much.
fantastic.
Oh no,
That was what.
it's horrifying.
That was one of the reasons I stopped playing SPVP. That wasn't there.
All right, let's get into build talk now. And now in the future, guys, there'll be a lot more build talk, but this one is more of an introduction to Thieves, an introduction to Jumper and Marcus getting their ideas. We'll talk a little bit about builds, and then we'll get into questions and answers from the viewers that we do have a few that are out there. And are there? We'll first get into outside of pistol. Pretty much all your guys' weapons are really good right now. I mean, they're really good. You know what I always wanted? A sword offhand. I think that would be like, that's the one thing that I really want for my thief, is like to carry 2 swords, even though I know that's more warrior-esque. Like sword dagger just looks weird to me, and sword pistol feels weird.
Sword warrior isn't even viable. Don't ask.
No,
me
I
too
know
much
that.
yet.
But I mean, you look more like warrior. But like, so okay, let's make it. Nothing on the warrior is viable in tournament play right now. Nothing. There's
Nothing except for a great sword. Yes.
And even then, like, would you see what happened to H-Man in the last tournament? Oh my goodness, he got destroyed. Like they ended up kicking him the next thing because they're like, oh, forget that. You know, like they didn't like the SOAC team saw H-Man. They're like, let's just dot him up and kill him. Like every single time, and I feel bad for them. So
yeah, even if he got a target down,
yeah.
by that time he's taking too much damage. He's gonna drop anyways, and usually the warrior, he's gonna be an easier stomp.
Yeah,
So.
and I saw Cade just pick him off just constantly, like you know. And okay, let's test that before we get into builds. What is the one class outside now, Jumper? What's the one class, and Ninja, both of you guys, because you guys play two entirely different styles of play, and what's the one class that you guys look at and go free kill?
Other thieves.
Really?
Yeah, that's. I have 2 that are like free kills. If I see a necromancer, elementalist using a staff in World vs. World,
Yes.
I know he's a guy who just like circles around with no HP, a lot of damage, and just wants to do that AoE. And I know, oh, he's alone. It's basically a one-shot. And then other thieves, of course, except if they're running the dagger pistol. Then I'm just like, no, fuck you. You could go permanently invisible, and I'll just leave you because I have more movement speed.
Pretty much the entire existence of the thief is to balance out the glass cannons of every other spec.
Huh.
Because otherwise you would just see everyone else running glass cannon spec.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pretty much any glass cannon that you see out there, you guys are like free kill. But if it's a tankier one, you're like,
For the most
forget
part.
that. Is
For
there
the
one
most
class
part,
that you guys
especially
don't...
with the dagger pistol thief.
Now, I think, Jumper, you already told us your least favorite class to face is the BM Ranger. But is there another class that you're like, whew, man, I don't even want to mess with those guys?
Well, there's certain it really depends on your spec, really. Like
Okay.
like with my sword dagger build, I can and there's different variations of the sword dagger builds. I mean, you can aim more for a burst sword dagger setup, which has a much easier time against scepter dagger Ellie's, which I sometimes have trouble with. In a team fight, it's much easier, but in a 1v1, like scepter dagger Ellie's are really pretty scary. And BM Rangers, the power ones, I can go 50-50 against. It really depends on how well I dodge. Uh, if the bird crits me for 15,000 damage, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, I ran into that one time with the bird chasing me and just killed me off repeatedly. I was like, oh, forget that.
Yeah.
They don't
it can-
disengage right away. That's what drives me crazy when I was on my thief. Like, I would disappear, and sometimes the pet would stay on me for another hit or two. So, it might just be lag issues, but it drove me bonkers. Now, what about you, Ninja?
Pretty much those two.
Wait, say that again, Jumper, what?
Those two builds, pretty much for the most part, as well as bunker engineers. Like
Jumper?
Teldo spec scares me so much
Who?
because Teldo,
Oh, yeah.
like he runs a bunkerish bombs with burning, lots of burning and confusion. Like I only have so many condi clears. Like if I'm against a necro and he pops a ton of bleeds on me, I can deal with that. I can shadow return or pop my signet of agility or my Lissa. I can only use my Lissa once, obviously, every 45 seconds,
Yeah.
but that's an option. But yeah, with an Inji, he just applies so many condis, and there's
Just never
just too many
stops.
to deal with. Way too many to deal with. On top of they're doing a lot of power damage since I have very little toughness. So
Yeah, no, I feel your pain on that one, man. As a necro, NGs annoy me. Marcus, what about you? What's the one class in World v World that you're like, huh, forget that?
The one class in World vs. World, I forget that. The Dagger Pistol Thief again. Because he has more stealth than I do, and I don't want to play the stealth game with him. So, I mean, if in World vs. World, with all the damage we can get from our gear, it's pretty much like who gets to open on the other thief. So we're like playing the stealth game to figure out where is the other player so we can backstab him. But if he has like unlimited stealth and I only have as much stealth as there's like critters around me, then he will win the stealth game. So I'll just leave instead. So those I leave alone. And there's some really tanky Guardian specs out there that if they're played correctly, I simply don't have enough damage to kill them. At least in any of the specs I'm running. So those guys I leave alone as well, because there's no point in fighting them for like, well, an hour. I actually had like an hour fight with a Guardian at one point. I like no shit. I wrote him, like invited him to my party and was like, dude, can we have a break? Because I need to go pee. So we had a break, sat down, and then we fought again afterwards, just for fun.
Okay. All right, that's cool. No, I have no idea.
So
I mean,
those,
like I said,
so those guys I leave alone. But besides that, I pretty much try to kill everything. I think the scepter elementalists. I don't really see those in World vs. World. I don't know why. There's a lot of daggers though.
well,
but-
because Dagger's got a couple more mobility and survivability things than the, and you can do a lot more damage with Dagger than you can with
well,
Scepter.
I don't think it's really that Scepter Dagger has more sustain or anything.
Yeah.
But you know, at least with my build, it's that Scepter Dagger can do a lot of damage very fast. It's very hard to dodge. On the other hand, Dagger is extremely easy to dodge. I can just pressure, you know, spam flanking strike as much as I want, and still be
Yeah.
able to dodge most of his burst damage.
Okay.
But with Scepter Dagger, I have to be a lot more careful, and it's a lot harder to play against.
You know, one of the things that I always whenever I laugh at whenever I see a thief get caught is, have you guys ever gotten caught in the epidemic hit? Like you see a necromancer, he does the epidemic, and boom, you get caught with it, and you go down. Like,
Litharunes. That's why I run Litharunes.
I see that one all the time. It makes me laugh so hard because they'll be like, "Here it comes," and like like Zombify did it like 3 times. This thief on the other side. The thief is kind of stealthing around, and I'm watching the fight. And all of a sudden, Epidemic comes out with all and also the thief is on the ground, and it's like, whoa, where did he come from? Didn't even see him there. And they're just
that
down.
rarely happens to me, but actually,
Now, what are with some?
extremely rare. But with my build, like my entire role is to just pressure and completely zone the enemy Necro, so he really can't do that. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty much playing like apart from all of the rest of my team.
Mhm.
Only situations that I'm ever there is when I have a target down and I'm DPSing the corpse for my team to get over here and stop him. But for the most part, that's usually going to be the Necro that I get down.
Okay, very cool. Okay, how about you, Marcus? You ever gotten hit by the Epidemic hit?
I need the question one more time because I think I'm lagging a bit.
We were just talking about the like one of the funniest things I ever saw. I like to watch is in the middle of a team fight. The thief is doing a stealth to come around and attack, and all of a sudden the Necro pulls off an Epidemic, and the thief goes down. Like just suddenly he's got all those bleeds, burns, poisons, and suddenly he's down. Like that's one of my favorite things because one as a player who plays Necromancer main, like the thief is annoying. Like they're always like I have to constantly keep an eye on them, and then when they jump you have like a very limited amount of time, and you better pray you have Death Shroud available with the fear, and he's not going to go back invisible again. So like when you get lucky and you get that Epidemic hit, and you just watch him drop, then you're the happiest man alive. All right, let's get into build talk here since we've been jumping all over that for a while. We're going to go ahead and start with Marcus, then we'll get to Jumper, since I know everybody wants to hear Jumper's build. Marcus, what build are you currently running in Worldview World?
I'm currently running a 10-30-30 build. 10 to Deadly Arts, 30 to Critical Strikes, and 30 to Shadow Arts. I'm doing this mainly so that I can change and use Dagger whenever I want, and use Sword Dagger whenever I want, without actually having to go back and change my build. Because I can just change some things around in Critical Strikes and it will work just fine.
So what are the main traits that you take in the 10-30-30? Like, give me the numbers or a quick call on them.
The important ones are Shadow's Rejuvenation, that gives you health when you're on stealth. The Shadow's Embrace, that removes condition when you go into stealth. And of course Infusion of Shadow, that will return initiative when you use a skill that stealths you. That's obviously for the Cloak and Dagger ability. Mm-hmm. And then I really enjoy the new Mug for the extra sustainability, and I just like the damage on the steel, even though it has been nerfed. It's still nice to have it there. And then of course I change the hidden killer trait in the Critical Strikes when I use the sword. Then I change it to Executioner, and depending on my mood, I would like to use Side Strikes or what's it called? Furious Retaliation. That gives you fury when they reach low health.
Yeah, I like that ability.
Yeah, that's good as well. I use it with the sword normally, just because I can get a lot of boons, so I like to stack those up. And I use Practice Tolerance to get some extra vitality. Because I feel like without that trait, I just drop too fast, and I can't run around inside a circ.
Oh, okay. Oh, very cool.
So yeah, it's. I feel my build is really flexible because I can just like change it around to either Dagger or Sword Dagger, whatever I feel like.
Okay, now what heal are you running right now?
I run with the Heightened Shadows. That is my personal favorite.
Now that's the stealth one?
Yeah, that's the stealth one.
Okay.
That's the one you'll see most World vs. World thieves use.
Yeah, the ability to disappear again and heal is always pretty cool. Now, what utilities are you currently running?
I am running with Signet of Shadows, the Shadow Step, and Shadow Refuge, and then I change out my ultimate for whatever I'm fighting. If I'm fighting like another Burst Thief, if I see him running around, I'll just change to Basilisk Venom to quickly get rid of him. But if I'm running like against a Guardian or something that has a lot of Aegis, I'll use my Thief Guild just so it can clear it and I can get in my backstabs and Heartseekers and whatnot.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Jumper, what build are you currently running? I know you're pretty famous on it, but go ahead and give us it. Now, what brought you to
That's
the...
an awesome build.
Yeah, that sword dagger build. What made you think of it?
At like a month after launch, you know, the pro scene was just the competitive scene was like just starting, and you know, there's tons of new players and you know, players all over the place. One of these players was a thief named Deja, I believe, and we used to always make fun of it. You're using a Deja spec, or like he was. It was kind of a joke, really, because what he was running was he was running double short bow with energy, 30 in acrobats, and he would just swap to his other short bow and just dodge, 3, which is the short bow evade. He'll use that and withdraw, and basically very similar to the build I have now, but yeah, he would just spam evades all day long. He would in a hot join. It was really hilarious to watch him in a hot join, because I was one of the players he did it against, and I was just sitting there trying to kill him, and it took the entire match. But yeah, in a hot join, he would just join in, and he would run straight to the enemy spawn, and he would just evade for 10 minutes straight, and just distract the entire enemy Zerg, and just evade all day. He didn't do any damage or anything. It was just really useless, but it was really troll.
You wanted to do? I mean, you wanted the same style of play, and that's why you went to the scepter dagger. You just kind of found that was the easiest way to do it, or not scepters, sword dagger, sword and dagger.
Oh man, I wish we could use scepters. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So what is your current build, Jumper? Tell us about it.
But yeah, pretty much I saw well, it was pretty much more of with a previous flanking strike. I feel it felt like it had a lot more evade frames. I'm not sure if this is true, but yeah, with the evades on flanking strike, I knew that was going to get buffed. So I started theory crafting. Oh hey, remember that Deja guy? Yeah, yeah, I think I could do something with this. So pretty much copied that and pasted it on top of sword dagger, and I worked it into there. So pretty much what I'm running is double sword dagger with energy on both. Running sigil of either you could take force, you could take accuracy. It really doesn't matter. Rune of Lissa for the Conley Clear. Build lacks a lot of Conley Clear. You're gonna be up in people's faces, up in the team fight. You have a lot of Conleys on you. And you don't really need the Bassy Venom so much because, I mean, you're not really playing a burst spec with this. You're just playing like more of a bruiser style of play. So you don't really need the Bassy all too much. So just save that for the Lissa, which is extremely strong. Lissa runes 6 bonus. When you use your elite, you gain all boons and lose all conditions. You gain all boons for 5 seconds. It's extremely strong.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it's like one of the only ways that Thief can gain stability. Just in case you need to stomp a Ranger, or like in the SOAC tournament, the Thieves vs Guardians.
Yeah.
I you know, I was in there. I needed a stomp. I didn't have Shadow Step. I didn't have my Infiltrators. I didn't have any stomp mechanic up. My Bassy Venom had just come up, so I knew I can pop that for my Lissa runes, which would proc my Aegis plus my stability, and I can get a stomp with that. And you know, we ended up winning that game because of that stomp. So I really liked running Lissa runes.
From that moment on, it became the Jumper way.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. And now, what heal do you use?
I'm using Withdraw. Again, should probably go over the traits first. I'm running 30 in critical strikes. just for the damage, and as well as Opportunist, which is crits give me a chance to restore an initiative. So I'm pretty much like with Fury up, I'm running around pretty much with 90% crit chance, which is the cap, the hard cap, and yeah, I'm running 30 net with Signet use, which gives me tons of initiative regen and signets. I like to run these two signets. Infiltrators gives me a Shadow Step. Combined with the Sword 2 Shadow Return, I can get a safe stomp on a lot of classes by using Shadow Return, having that proc, ready to proc, and starting the stomp. Use that, and then coming back with Infiltrator Signet to finish the stomp. Also gives pretty good initiative regen, 1 per 10. It may not seem like a lot, but it'll add up, especially with the traits I take in Acrobats, which Vigorous Recovery, again, that synergizes with the Withdraw that I take. So every 15 seconds, I take, yeah, even if I'm like close to full health, I'm not getting the full benefit out of it. Like, I'm almost always using Withdraw to proc my Vigorous Recovery to give me Vigor. So I'm dodging a ton with Feline Grace, the 15 point, into Acrobats. I get pretty much 3 dodges out of what normally you would get 2 dodges. So any energy return, any Vigor is extremely strong with Feline Grace. So I'm pretty much running 75% Vigor upkeep as long as I keep my heal off of cooldown. And I keep spamming that. And Quick Recovery gives me tons of initiative regen, 2 per 10. Really lets me keep up my flanking strikes, keeps up my damage, keeps up my evades, you know, my shadow returns, everything I need to live and do damage. So it's really initiative heavy. And Quick Pockets for even more initiative regen. Weapon swap is on a 10-second cooldown, so I'm pretty much always swapping every 10 seconds to gain 3 initiative from Quick Pockets, as well as my energy sigils on both of my sets. So not only do I gain 3 initiative, but I gain half of my endurance back, which is huge, just huge. And for the last few points, I just put them in Trickery. You can put them into Deadly Arts. It's a lot more of a selfish choice to do so, but it'll keep you up longer. You'll put Poison on your steel. But I like having Kleptomaniac. It gives you the 3 initiative on your steel, as well as Thrill of the Crime. Overall, I feel that Thrill would result in more damage for your team.
I love the names of your guys' traits. They're like totally awesome. Thrill of the Crime, and it's like it's really cool to hear. But go ahead. Sorry, keep going.
But yeah, my utilities, Infiltrator Signet. I went over that. Signet of Agility. Now all of these signets, they're on 24 seconds cooldown because of the signet use that I took, and they give 2 initiative each time I use them. So tons of initiative regen. And again, Agility, it just synergizes so well. Not only do I get the 8%, which was recently buffed, I get the 8% crit to keep proccing my Opportunist. It's a good DPS boost too. So with Opportunist, I'm getting more crits. I'm getting more initiative, and the active is just it synergizes so well because of Feline Grace. I'm really focused around endurance. I get 3 dodges out of a full initiative bar, and the active it clears a Condi and refills the endurance of everyone nearby. So it's huge, just huge. And my last utility is just like whatever my team needs, pretty much. Like I don't need a stun breaker because of my Infiltrator Strike, Shadow Return. Even if I don't have that proc at the time, most likely I'm gonna have my Infiltrator Signet which is, again, another Stunbreaker. So I really don't need Shadow Step, but say on Forest, if we really need to, get up on the top of the keep, I can run Shadow Step to to get up there and just burn down anyone who's up there from the enemy team. I can run, what I've usually been running is Shadow Refuge to give my team those stealth plays. Oh man, I need some water. But yeah, stealth plays, especially in tournament PvP, is really huge for those openers. Or, of course, what I started out this build with was roll for initiative. More initiative gives me more options to pressure. Just initiative fuels your everything, pretty much.
When you come from another class into the Thief and you don't have to worry about, cooldowns. It's a little different that way. So, now, I'm guessing your elite is Venom, is the Venom one? The giant Venom Strike?
Yeah, Basting Venom.
Basting Venom, thank you.
Yeah. Not really because I need it for the burst, like you will see like pretty much every Dagger Pistol Thief run, just to ensure like the full burst combo lands. But mostly for the Lissa runes, you'll have Lissa available every 45 seconds. Gain all boons for 5 seconds and clear all of your conditions.
I'm really going to have to start carrying that Lissa runes around, dude. That thing just sounds amazing.
It is.
It really is kind of awesome, yeah.
Kind of situational, but sometimes it's just amazing. It will turn a game around.
All right, let's get into our questions from the audience section. If any of you guys have a question you'd like to ask Jumper or Ninja here, we'd be glad to go ahead and ask it. I think we have one from earlier. It says, there's a forum post, Jumper, that talks about the buffing of, or if FS and LS were overbuffed.
Yeah, I saw that.
Now, FS is Flanking Strike and Lacerating Strike, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Pretty much the new thing now with Thieves is pretty much, oh, you play Sword Dagger? Oh, you just spamming 3 and not really thinking about anything. You're a thief. Spam 3 more, noob.
No, so it's like the old Heartsinger
Yeah.
one. HS more, buddy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I
yeah,
mean, it essentially is 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, right? I mean, that's pretty much what it is.
That's the only 2 useful skills in this kit, really. Like, very situational. Will you have your Cloak and Dagger be useful? Because it just takes so long to cast. Compared to, say, Dagger Pistol, Headshot is an instant interrupt. If you see a Necro trying to res Signet, or, a teammate getting stomped or something, you can react on the fly, right there. He needs to be headshotted. Bam, he's done. But with Sword Dagger, with Cloak and Dagger, it takes so long. You have to be in melee range too. So you're going to have to either take the time, the half second it takes to cast Infiltrate Strike to get that 600 range gap closer, or you're going to have your Infiltrator Signet or your Steel up, and then you're going to have to make sure that Cloak and Dagger lands. You're going to have to make sure they don't have stability. If they do, of course, there's the Larson Strike. You can rip it from them. You can steal it. But that would take way too long. But generally, Cloak and Dagger, it's what, a quarter second or a half second cast. And then Tactical Strike is another quarter second cast. And by the time you get that off, whoever you're trying to daze is already rezzed, or, it's just, or they got their heal off, or it's just really not practical. You really have to play preemptively and expect those things when you're playing with Sword Dagger. So that's why I say, like, Cloak and Dagger is extremely situational. That Dancing Dagger is, like, really, it's been a really bad spot ever since the nerf. For initiative, for really low damage, cripple that you don't really need.
All right, Jumper. I think we get your answer. Let's jump on to the next one.
Wait, hold on.
Okay. So the answer to the question is you don't feel it's
Strike and Larcenous Strike. Those are your two abilities out of this kit, and really, I mean, what else do you expect me to do? Auto attack?
I'm just saying, and I see where people are coming from though, because like you guys are complaining about quarter-second cast times. I mean, as a necromancer, like our cast times are a second and a half. Plus, we get those really long wind-ups, and it's like, ooh, go ahead and interrupt me now. So, all right,
which is part of the reason why a dagger pistol is really strong against necros. You can just spam headshot, auto attack, headshot, auto attack.
Yes.
Oh, you're casting a mark, or you're trying to heal, headshot. Auto attack.
Exactly, Leadfoot. What they're saying is that currently, because of the way that the setup is, that the two abilities, and Marcus, you agree, right? That essentially you have two abilities in that kit, and that's about it.
Well, for World vs. World, it's different because we actually like to use our cloak and dagger like all the time because people are circling around in such big groups, so you want to be invisible as much as you possibly can. And that's not the same in SPVP because you actually have like a point to catch.
Okay.
So just like staying out of the fight and staying invisible is just yeah.
Okay, so it's actually you guys use almost all the abilities in that setup.
I actually use the auto attack in World vs. World. My auto attack actually does a lot of damage. Like I can crit 5k with the last one and like 3k with the first two. So yeah, I use it. I don't really use the throw dagger one. That's very situational. But I use the rest of the abilities.
So yes or no, Marcus? Is the ability overbuffed right now?
Well, I don't want to say yes because I don't want it to get nerfed. But it hurts so bad in World vs. World right now. It really, especially that last one, Lazarus Strikes. It really hurts.
I feel the strength of the number 3 really needs to spread out. It needs to be spread out among the entire kit.
Okay, all right. So the basic idea is that yes, it's a little bit overbuffed, but you're essentially stuck with that. With just those two abilities having to be that powerful because there really is nothing else you can use on the rest of things. So if they spread out, then you can then you can bring the damage down. So that makes sense.
If you take a look at like Dagger Pistol is like the perfect example. Like every ability in that set is useful, and every ability is really good.
Okay.
So like Dagger Pistol is like
at least
the
for tournament
play,
because I think Marcus was saying in World v World, the abilities are a little different. Where you
still don't use Dancing Dagger in WW.
Okay.
No.
Or Leaping Death Blossom.
All right.
If you're not
next question. Let's keep moving.
So you're stuck with three abilities.
Next question. Jumper, how often do you use IS/SR Sword 2? I don't know what that is.
Infiltrator Strike.
Okay, how often?
Shadow Return.
Oh, okay, I know what that one is now. Okay, all right, yes. How often do you use it?
I always keep it in a safe spot. What I do is I find some place to line of sight, and I'll jump into the team fight with my Infiltrator Strike. So I'll keep my Shadow Return out of line of sight in a really safe spot, and then I'll just go straight into their backlines. Really don't care whoever's on me. Whatever they throw at me, I can get out. As long as I see it coming, as long as it's not like a fire grab or something that will take over half of my health, I'll look out to dodge those. But if I get hit by or ever get in danger, if I get hit by some sort of stun or CC, I'll have my Shadow Return always ready. That's every 15 seconds. If it passes the 15-second mark, I have to go back and refresh it, just like how a Mesmer would play his Portal, really.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking when you were explaining it too. Now there's been that, and Ninja, we'll get to your return as well. So Ninja, what about you? How often do you use it in World v World? Because you run the sword.
Yeah, I abuse it as much as I can. As I said in the beginning of this podcast, I really look up to Ozzycat, the Mesmer player, for his way of jumping around, and I can abuse the sword 2 ability in the same way. So there's a lot of places, for example, in the Borderlands, where I can like jump to insane high ground and just take out my short bow and just troll that little warrior down down on the ground. And just get some free damage into him before he can get to me. So I abuse it all the time if I can get to it.
There's a bug recently, or they like I think Jumper, you were telling me also complaining about this, and this is what the other one does the thing where now it catches on. Now instead of it being an actual port, it's almost like a or it kind of brings you across the ground. So if there's any like rock, stick, leaf on the ground between you and your port, you'll get stuck on it.
Well, it's only for very specific cases. There's like these dead zones, like in the keep, or these certain points in the map where, like, if I'm say any point past 1200 range, say I'm at 1300 range, and I line of sight my Shadow Return with one of these dead zones, the statue on the keep, for example, I will only teleport about 100 distance, and the statue will block me, and I'll just teleport to the statue 100 distance, and I will most likely die because of that.
Okay. Yeah, no, have you seen the same issues in World v. World? Because World v. World, I think, has more LOS issues than any other form of gameplay. You know, like you can get stuck all the time in ports in World v. World. Have you seen anything like that?
There's a lot of issues with that, and sometimes it can be really, really hard to figure out when you are allowed to port. I have a video out on it. It's called How Shortbow Works, where I talk about the Shortbow 5 skill, because it's a teleport as well, where some places you just aren't allowed to teleport up to a ledge. There's one in the Borderlands where if you stay like inside a certain grass field, you are simply not allowed to use your teleport spell, your teleport ability, the Shortbow 5. But if you just move like I think 1 meter in game or whatever outside the grass field, you can actually teleport just fine. And it just looks so ridiculous, and they should try to fix that. Also, if you're too close to the ledge, sometimes you can't teleport up there. So
interesting.
Yeah. As I say in that video, you just have to to practice. Just figure out, okay, where am I supposed to be standing if I want to teleport up there? Because it's just about practice in World vs. World. Because it's really, really just about knowing the map, and there's so many places where it will fuck you up, and you will get killed. Sorry for language there. It will mess you up.
Going about the change that console is, it used to be like since launch, I believe. Shadow Return, the Sword 2, has always been infinite range. No one's ever had a complaint or anything about it. And then, someone's actually using a build that incorporates it. Nerf! nerf it, please. Nerf.
That's so true. That's so true.
Even though, like, the nerf was necessary, I believe. Like,
it was.
Our internet was correct for doing this. I could have, gone from mid node and gone to the enemy far node, decapped it, and teleported straight back to mid. And it would be extremely fast, faster than any other class can possibly do that. But, with the new system with the 1200 range, it just creates so many bugs like we see in the Keep and at certain points in Kylo with some of the buildings blocking you, and it's just a mess. They need to increase it to at least 1500 range, just so that those bugs don't happen.
I actually haven't got to play a lot with the new change to the range with it, so I don't know whether or not there's a lot of bugs with it in World vs. World.
Okay. All right. Well,
with the new range.
Are there any other questions? I lost our chat. So I don't know if there are any questions after that last one. It seems like about it will run 30 critical strikes, whether it's in PvP or World v World, no matter what type of build is it. How necessary do you guys think that 30 critical strikes is in Thief builds?
You need it. You need it for damage.
Yeah.
That's your only. That's where all of your damage comes from.
Yeah,
it's
the best. It's the best damage trade. The best damage trade line there is. So that's not much else to say about it. It's just it's good. It's the best for damage.
I think that's true with like almost every class out there, and you guys will find that as you play more and more classes, is that there's always like one tree that has all the best traits, and then you always have like a second damage tree that's kind of pointless. And I think in your case, a lot of times it is. Yes, I will try and get the build calculator of each of them later, and we'll put it on when we upload this to YouTube and turn this into a video.
You want to talk about a trait balance for a thief? In Structured, really the only trait line really that I feel is pretty bad is Shadow Arts, but that's just because like it really doesn't fit the style of play of node capture. But other than that, I feel like all the other trait lines are really balanced for Thief. Besides the mandatory 30 crit strikes.
All right, we are out of time for the day. We're actually quite a few minutes over. I think we're about 15 to 20 minutes over, so we made up for the fact that we were 15 to 20 minutes late. And we do appreciate everybody watching and putting up with the really, really bad overlay that I put together. And we do appreciate everybody listening. Now, just to let everyone know, it will be on the Thief podcast will be every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, GMT -8. And the reason for that is so that we can get a lot more EU guys, and we will make sure we promote it before. We'll post up, Jumper and Ninja are about to do it, and whoever they're going to have on as their first guest. I think we're going to try and get Cade, but we'll see how that goes. I know that Cade is usually practicing during that time. We'd like to thank everybody for being here. Again, this is James with SOAC Gaming, or sittingondecouch.com. We have all these other different podcasts that are coming out. We want to thank everyone for being a part of this. Thank you, Jumper, and thank you, Marcus, for joining the SOAC team. That's what we like to say. I mean, and you can check us out at YouTube, user SOAC Gaming, or you can follow us here. Please do subscribe to the channel. And let us know if you guys have any questions. You can also email us directly at podcast@sittingondecouch.com. We will have a better overlay, and we will have web cameras next time, or if we can or cannot, depends on Marcus' situation. But we will have a better overlay. Jumper has promised again, but we will have a better overlay next time. This overlay was done by. What's that?
I'll try to see if I can get a webcam.
Okay, so the overlay was totally me, and this is why I don't do overlays. So we do apologize for that. We had a couple technical difficulties too at the beginning, which prevented us from being able to do the correct web cameras, which is what we wanted to do. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great time. And again, this is Revealed from sittingondecouch.com.